Welcome, welcome, welcome. Another episode here of Cut Ups. 7.2, I'm calling this. We're going to get to Michigan, Indiana, second half film analysis, but obviously today was a busy ass day when it comes to Michigan football. Holy cow, there's a lot to go through. I prepared a whole host of notes and things to walk through as a part of the first third. I'm hoping. I don't want to go until like 11 p.m., but it's going to be a longer stream. I'm going to warn you guys right now. So, first third is going to be covering all of the allegations around the sign stealing, everything there. And then we'll cover the second half of Michigan, Indiana, and then we'll talk Michigan State at the end. All right. Let's give a couple minutes for people to stream in here because I want to make sure that people get the full picture of what I want to talk about. I have it ordered in a lot of different things, and I think it's important to kind of establish the different articles that are out there, different things that have been said, things that have been redacted, and put that all together cohesively. So at the time of this recording, it is 8 o'clock, 8:01 Eastern on October 19th. So if I ever get flamed for anything I say in this, keep in mind that is the timestamp at which I am saying these things, and it's a developing story. Things are always changing. So if I ever get called out or roasted, just know it's a developing story, right? There's a lot of things that can change. And Jim Harbaugh did make a statement. I read that statement as well. But I want to go through like the actual Yahoo Sports article. There was an athletic article from Brendan Quinn that's really important as a part of this story. And then there's a couple other key elements about like Greg Schiano and things that I want to clear up about that. Okay. So I know people will still be trickling in, but hopefully they'll be able to catch up. Okay. So where it all started, right? Let me switch my screen before I get going here. Let's do this one. Let's make it full screen as much as possible. Okay. So on the right-hand side over here, these are my notes. All right. Let me try to make these a little bit bigger for you guys to actually read it. Okay. That looks better. So these are my actual notes. Okay. And I'm taking a lot of the sources from the articles I have on the left side here and taking them over here. So that's all I'm doing is taking away the pertinent information from each of the sources that I link here. Okay. So let's start out just with this was the initial report, right? Where everything kind of started around noon this afternoon was the Yahoo report. The allegation here pertains to NCAA bylaw 11.6.1, which reads off campus in person scouting of future opponents in the same season is prohibited, sources say. So that is what sources are saying is the primary issue here, because sign stealing during a game, right? Being able to look at the other team's signs, digest them, adapt your game plan, that's all in fair play. But scouting future opponents or potential college football playoff opponents, that's where it gets into the illegal aspect. All right. So at issue, according to sources, whether Michigan used unnamed individuals to attend games of both scheduled opponents and possible CFP opponents in an effort to gather information on the signs they used to call both offensive and defensive plays. Okay. So we're establishing the groundwork of what this actually is. There's no mention of any like video devices in general. It appears that the only thing that is at play, and again, more information could come out, right? But is the in-person scouting of future opponents. So actually having people pertinent to the program at those future opponent games. Okay. So that brings us to the next sort of like just establishing the timeline here. So Wednesday afternoon, so yesterday, Big Ten Conference and U of M were notified by the NCAA that NCAA was investigating allegations of the sign stealing by the University of Michigan football program. So Big Ten released a statement on Thursday, I think after this report came out, right? So Big Ten notified Michigan State and future opponents. Big Ten Conference considers integrity of competition utmost importance. Continue to monitor investigation. Conference will have no further comment. Okay, so the only other thing. Oh, hold on 1 second. I don't mean to highlight that. Let me block that user. Apologize there. Had to mute that and delete the comment. Okay. So the other aspect of this is that two of Michigan's opponents this season told Yahoo Sports they became aware that Michigan knew their play signs. Okay. This is extremely vague, right? Who these opponents are, right? There's been speculation of Greg Schiano. It very well could be. I have a future article talking about that as well. But anyway, this is actually give me 1 second. I want to reshare. Let me share screen because I don't think I shared with audio, and I need to share audio. Okay, so that's from the Yahoo article, right? So what we can gather from this, two of Michigan's opponents told Yahoo Sports they became aware that Michigan knew their play signs, and the main allegation is Michigan is attending future opponents' games on the schedule. All right, so the next article here is from The Athletic. Okay, this is, I'm not going to show it because this is paywalled, right? But this is from Brendan Quinn, right? So kind of talking about the allegations in further detail. So, couple things about this, and this is where I have the most questions, really. So, Ward Manuel spoke with Conference Commissioner Tony Petitti on Wednesday. According to a source briefed on the allegations, as of noon Thursday, Michigan has yet to be presented with the evidence compiled in the investigation. So, this is interesting to me because it seems to be that there's already an investigation, but it seemed like the NCAA was kicking off an investigation. So this is where I'm not 100% sure on like the timeline of when the NCAA became aware of this. Anyway, one source who is briefed on the allegation said Michigan is being accused of using a vast network to steal opposing teams' signs. The alleged evidence appears to suggest University of Michigan had knowledge of what play an opposing team was going to run before the play occurs. Okay, so this is the funniest aspect of this to me, where it's Michigan had knowledge of a play of opposing team was going to run before the play occurs. That's scouting. Okay, there are tendencies, there are different tip-offs that an offense can give, right? If a lineman is setting up like they're going to pass protect versus a run play, sometimes there are different tells, right? This is like saying the running back looking at the outside or something and then going on a flare pass. They knew he was going out to the flat, right? So like this aspect of it proves nothing. Okay, so that part's really odd to me. And then this is kind of a key area that I really want to dive into. Editor's note, okay? And you can read this right here. A previous version of the story reported that the Big Ten was investigating and compiling evidence, and NCAA is investigating, compiling, and alerted the conference. So that's the only editor's note on this. However, if we shift over to this article, okay, this is from Brandon Brown over at Sports Illustrated, Wolverine Digest, whatever it's called. And this is quoting the same exact article from The Athletic. Okay, so this is linking to this previous article, the one from The Athletic I was just talking about. And this is a quote from it. Okay, the league claims that Michigan, as one source with knowledge of the allegation said, is using a vast network, right? Very similar, same quote as above, to steal opposing team signs. The league told Michigan State it had reviewed film that shows University of Michigan clearly knowing what play an opposing team is going to run before the play occurs. So this is the aspect that's really, really odd to me, is the previous version of this article said that the league told Michigan State it had reviewed film showing Michigan clearly knowing the play an opposing team is going to run before the play occurs. How can there be film that clearly shows that, and how that proves that there's any illegal action going on here, right? You can't really just from that. And this was redacted, right, to then be what we show above here. The alleged evidence appears to suggest Michigan had knowledge of what play an opposing team was going to run before the play occurs. So it seems like this is what actually happened, and then it was redacted to have less detail, right? Like what I don't see any way of this being taken otherwise, right? And then the other aspect of this that was redacted from the article, this is just a what is this? woodtv.com. So like a local news site, right? This is quoting the same article, right? The same article that says the Athletics' Brendan Quinn reports Michigan State approached the Big Ten to say it was considering not playing in the game this weekend, citing concern over the health and safety of its players. Initially, the conference gave Michigan State a heads up regarding the investigation to inform the school of Michigan's alleged sign stealing ahead of the game. However, on Thursday, Michigan State told the league that it will play the game on Saturday as scheduled. Again, this is citing that same article, right? This is citing that same article here that we were just talking about. And in the most updated version of that article, it has no reference to any of that communication at all, and between Michigan State and the Big Ten, and any sort of communication about Michigan State possibly not playing that game over safety concerns. So, to me, why is this redacted? Doesn't make any sense. Why are we redacting that? We're redacting more information into the investigation, right? What the NCAA is actually investigating, and that's what was initially reported. And then the most recent version of that same article redacts some of those key elements and some of the communication between Michigan State and the Big Ten Conference. Make it make sense. Don't understand. Don't get it. Don't get it. So, okay, let's move on. Okay, so there was a lot of speculation that Greg Schiano's comments at halftime against Michigan were pretty cryptic, right? And that this must mean that it was Greg Schiano complaining about Michigan, right? I had a tweet about this because that was where my head went initially as well. So let's listen in on Greg Schiano at the half of the Rutgers.
Coach, 4 penalties for your team in the first half, some that cost you. How do you clean that up in the second half?
Well, there's some stuff going on out there, so we just got to slow it down a little bit. There's some things going on that aren't right as well, so we'll talk about how to handle it.
Does Michigan defense keep in Gavin?
Okay, so that was like the weird thing where he's like, there's things not going on out there that are right, and very cryptic. And there's a ton of articles mentioning like, oh, he was talking about the sign stealing and stuff like that. So this was the post-game press conference. Okay, so I'll try to raise the audio. I don't know if you guys can hear that appropriately or not, but let me show the question from the post-game press conference. Someone asked about those halftime comments. Okay, so let's listen in here.
Our best will be good enough. We just got to keep getting better.
Just in your halftime interview, you said that there was some things going on out there that weren't right. Can you just clarify where you're referring to?
Yeah, just the nuances of the game. You know, I was frustrated with a few things, but look, they're a very good football team, and you have to make sure that you are on point with everything. Because if you're not, it's not just a gain, it's a touchdown. If you're not, it's not just a PBU, it's a pick six. So, like I said, we had 3 shots inside the 30-yard line. You get that against that team, you're 14-7 at half.
Yeah, I can't really, I don't know how to increase the volume here. Is this any better, guys?
I think anybody comes out here and play the number 2 team would sign up for that. We've been there before. We have to learn how. Some of it is, again, the opponent we're playing. So hats off to them. They did a good job.
Okay, so sorry, I know that was quiet, but this is the full quote, okay, where the question was, what were those comments about at halftime? And he said just nuances of the game. So none of this response elaborating on those halftime comments lead me to believe that he's referencing any sort of sign stealing. There's not a whole lot of like animosity as a part of this, right? He's pretty upfront about being complimentary of Michigan. Okay. So this is the full quote of what he said. Okay. So there's nothing beyond that. I think it's more the body language at the start that is most important.
Playing, so we've been half.
Well, let me turn on the CC for the question. Okay.
30 yards. It's not just a gain. They're very and our best will be good enough. We just got to keep getting better.
Just in your halftime interview, you said that there was some things going on out there that weren't right. Can you just clarify what you're referring to?
Yeah, just the nuances of the game. You know, I was frustrated with a few things, but look.
So that's pretty much it. I don't think there's a whole lot of substance to, Greg Schiano is the one who like spearheaded this. Okay. His body language there, his response doesn't make it seem like he has a big gripe with this. Okay. So I don't think that's necessarily fair. Okay. So let's get to my thoughts here. Why was the Athletic, right? Why was the Athletic article so heavily redacted, right? Where the call out of the film showing Michigan was clearly knowing what play was going on, right? This is a screenshot from the article. The league told Michigan State had reviewed film that shows Michigan clearly knowing what play an opposing team is going to run before the play occurs. Like, what is that film going to tell you, right? What is that film actually going to tell you? That has nothing to do with the actual issue at hand, which is Michigan staffers or something being at future opponents' games, right? That is what is at question. So what substance is reviewing film that shows Michigan clearly knowing what play an opposing team is going to run before the play occurs? That just shows good scouting to me. Again, it's like apples and oranges here. So that's the other thing. And then again, no mention of the potential back out of the game any longer. And then another aspect here is why is the Big Ten notifying teams of an ongoing investigation and potential options of opting out of games, right? If this is an ongoing investigation, shouldn't this action from the Big Ten only occur if the investigation yields proof of wrongdoing? Like, I understand wanting to protect the integrity of the game, but they're treating this like a bomb threat, right? They're treating these accusations like a bomb threat where everyone needs to know because everyone's in danger. And I just wholeheartedly disagree with that. Anyone can make an accusation and then it's Armageddon. Everyone needs to know and change all your signs and do everything because they might be doing something wrong. That seems really odd. Seems really odd to me. So that's the two main things. And then a couple key tweets here. This is from Chris Vanini at The Athletic. This was a flashback. This was back to an Athletic article from after the 2021 game, I believe, where it says, I think Michigan, before the UM-OSU game, a Big Ten assistant, this is a Big Ten running back coach, who said, I think Michigan is really good at stealing your signals. They got our stuff early and they got us on both sides. Okay. And it was pretty complimentary, right? So it's like, this isn't a new thing, right? Michigan having a very solid sign stealing operation. That's all legal, right? At least the way that it seems to be approached here. Okay, so that's what I'm reading from this, and this goes back, right? Let me click into this just to see what year. This is 2022, but this was from last year. So anyway, and then what's the last thing? Yeah, so I tweeted at Brennan Quinn to elaborate, because none of these editor notes about removing some of the discrepancies in that article were mentioned in the editor's note. Seems pretty important too, right? So anyway, that's where I'm at. So, okay, my final thoughts on this. I think Michigan has one of the best sign stealing operations in football. Okay, let me say that again. I think Michigan has one of the best sign stealing operations in football. That doesn't mean this operation is illegal. It is perfectly legal to have staffers dedicated strictly during the game to observe, analyze, read, digest, and use the opponent's signals in the game and use those to your advantage. That's part of the game, right? And it's perfectly legal to be doing that. I think Michigan has a system for that. And I think it's been a huge point of emphasis in the past couple of years for Michigan to improve that system and to have the system down pat. Down pat. I think they have this system that is extremely sophisticated and probably some of the best in the country able to do this. I think that's helped them close the gap. I think it's gained them quite a bit of an advantage. That doesn't mean it's wrong, right? Doesn't mean it's wrong. I think that explains why there would be some complaints, right? Because it would be frustrating where it's like, oh crap, like we implement some new signals for this game. Then after the first quarter, they got all of our stuff, right? How did they do that? How did they do that, right? If you can't explain it, either they're doing something illegal or they're just on the cutting edge. And that's what I think it is. I think Harbaugh has found a way to be on the cutting edge of sign stealing. And hey, man, if you don't have a good system of hiding your signals, Michigan's probably going to learn them, right? And they have a system in place to do that and to execute upon it extremely sophisticatedly. So that's where I'm at with it. I think that 100% is happening. I think other coaches and other programs hate it, right? They complain about it. And that is what is getting the NCAA all riled up, because these coaches are like, listen, they are getting our shit really quickly. This sucks. And you need to figure out if they're doing anything illegal, because I can't understand how they're doing it. Right? That's it. And I mean, this is a good point from Shadyville, right? There should be no signs anyway. Have the helmet, right? The communication from the sideline into the helmet, then you do away with all these signals. If you don't want this to be an issue, NCAA, guess what? That's a system that's been in place for years in the NFL, not an issue in the NFL, right? Teams are able to gain this advantage because of your outdated technology and your inability to adapt to technological advances. You're a multi-billion-dollar corporation here, and you can't allow this, something that's been in the NFL, I think, since like the 90s. It's a joke. It's a joke. So here's the thing. Michigan probably is doing some pretty heavy scouting, tendency learning, right, through film analysis. They're probably doing a ton of prep in that regard and probably have an insanely sophisticated system of gaining other teams' systems in game. All of that. Do I think they're scouting actual, like sending scouts to future potential opponents or future opponents on the schedule? I have no reason to believe that. This vast network thing, I don't know, right? I don't know any of that information. I don't feel like anyone really does at this point. Seems like a little bit of a witch hunt, but again, I don't have all the information here. Some of the article stuff here with The Athletic and redacting a lot of the information coming from the NCAA, some of the communication between the Big Ten and MSU seems really weird. All right. And that's where I'm going to leave it. It seems really odd. And the timing is really odd as well, just with, this being Michigan State week. And I don't know. We know the NCAA has a bone to pick with Harbaugh. They have. So I'm very rarely one to be like along the lines of a conspiracy that a corporation has it out for anybody. But man, this is the closest I've been to just being like, what are we doing here? So that's where I'm going to leave it. I think Michigan is really good at scouting, really good at stealing signs during a game. Doesn't mean it's illegal. And maybe there will be more information that comes out that proves me wrong. But at this point, I see nothing to substantiate that. And I feel like a lot of opposing teams are frustrated and cannot understand how Michigan is doing the things they are when it comes to that sign stealing operation that very well may be perfectly legal. Okay. All right, let's move in. I spoke my piece. Let me see any comments here before we move into that. Let me see. I feel like people would recognize people who worked for Michigan at other games. Here's the thing. If they were doing it, right, you're probably sending some GAs or something. You're not sending your main coaches, right? I don't know. That's just, if I were doing it, that's what I would do. I'm not sending an actual coach. I'm sending just some GA that wants to get in there, right? So, okay. Are we ready for some analysis, guys? Are we ready? Okay. Let me pull up my fancy little tool here. And let's get into second half analysis versus Indiana. And let's get to it. Okay. Sorry. I just had to get that off my chest, man. I was getting frustrated. And we'll see, man. I could be very wrong, and that's the main thing. That's why you don't get overly in one way or the other. There could be more information and I could be all wrong, right? But a lot of things are just weird. All you can do is work with the information you have. And the information we have and how this has transpired today seems a little bit off. And I think that's fair to call out. Okay. Woo. All right, third quarter here. Start of the third quarter, 1st and 10, Michigan's ball, 4 wide, trips left.
For Michigan in the first half, 4 penalties for 44 yards. McCarthy runs it with a lane. JJ all day.
Nice little keep here. So keep. Let's see this read here, right? Kind of a gray read here for JJ McCarthy, right? How many you have in the box here? Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. How do you win with numbers in the box? How do you win numbers in the box? You take one out and you read them, right? You read them with your eyes. Then you got 5 on 5 based on what this guy does, right? You either give here or keep to the outside, right? Simple. There's the eyes of JJ McCarthy. Relatively good play here, right? This isn't the easiest of read because right now, if you're JJ McCarthy, you could probably give this, right? You could probably give this and still find success. This guy getting down here and making a play on Blake Corum in the backfield, maybe not likely, right? And you like the odds here of a double getting off into the linebacker, but this is what you're reading, right? But JJ McCarthy decides to keep. I would call this a gray read. A gray read, meaning either way could work, but you have to read the body language, right? Read the body language. Probably a good read here. JJ McCarthy able to beat him to the outside. Then you have just some blocks on the outside, right? You got 3 blockers here to the outside. 1, 2, 3. Win your blocks, right? Win your blocks, beat the guy to the outside, and you got money, right? That's it. Boom, win that. He wins the battle to the edge, and good blocks on the outside, right? I give a lot of credit here for Roman Wilson continuing on this, right? He gets initially beat. If we back up a little bit, he gets beat initially here, right? But he doesn't give up. He keeps going, stays engaged. Look what that does. That creates a lane for JJ McCarthy because he didn't give up, right? So it's a really good job continuing on. And then it's that safety, right? That safety who kind of comes flying down, who JJ McCarthy is able to shrug off, get out of bounds for the first down, right? It's perfect. That's how you need to do that. So yeah, good blocks on the outside. I think on the edge here, this is just a clear out, right? Don't even actually block him, just run this guy off so then you don't have to block. Good block from Loveland. And then, yeah, just stay with him if you're Roman Wilson, right? You don't need a huge block. That's the thing. If you initially lose the block, that's okay. Just harass the guy a little bit, right? Make his life a little bit more difficult flowing to the ball, and good things will happen. So really good job. Really good job and good read from JJ McCarthy. I think he made the right call there. Be able to get the edge. Easy first down. All right, 2nd and 2 here, a little bit further along in this drive. Here we go.
Behind Cornelius Johnson and Roman Wilson. 2nd down and 2 at the 46. Blake Corum following.
All right. Let me see. A little pin and pull. Is that what we're looking at here? A little attempt. Yeah, it looks like a little attempted pin and pull. So it seems like to me that Blake Corum was potentially expecting Drake Nugent to cut up here. What I mean by cut up is the initial block here, right? You come flying down here. The initial block is right here. And then you have Drake Nugent going through the hole, pick up the first guy, right? Probably this guy. And Blake Corum follows here through that gap. Now, I don't know that for sure, right? I don't actually know that. But that's kind of what it seems like, because we don't really see. I don't expect Trevor Keegan here to make this kind of block if he's expecting something to get to the outside of him, if that makes sense. So to me, he's making this block with his head to the inside, right? That's what he's doing. He's allowing this guy upfield, I feel like, expecting Nugent here to cut up to the inside, and this is where the play is supposed to go, right? So if I'm Keegan and I'm expecting this to go outside of me, right? If I'm expecting the play design to go around to the outside, his goal should be to work around, right? Work around, get your body around this way. And it's rare for me to see Keegan not get around like that. Now, it is very possible that this could just be Aaron Casey making a play, right? And Keegan not able to get that block. So that could also be a possibility. But it seems like there's a little bit of, I can't tell. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, that's where the play is blown up, right? Where either miscommunication or Keegan just does get straight up beat, right? And then Nugent's carrying around to the outside. That block's there. And then you got a lot of promise, right? If you're able to get this guy from Keegan, you got a blocker out here. That's a big lane to the outside. So give 44 quite a bit of credit there. Casey's a player, right? Really, really good linebacker. Probably one of the better linebackers Michigan will play this year. He did a great job making a play. That sets Michigan back quite a bit here. Okay, moving on. 3rd and 10, right? Was that this play? Yeah. So now you're at 3rd and 10 here. And let's go with 3rd and 10.
McCarthy feeling the pressure. McCarthy throws. Caught down the sideline. Loveland breaks it in. Touchdown, Wolverine.
It's just backyard football, right? When the play breaks down, what are you going to do? And this is why you love having a playmaker like J.J. McCarthy, right? Not a good blitz pickup whatsoever, right? If we back up and just look at the pressure being brought here from Indiana, right? They're bringing a delayed blitz. I think they're probably keeping this linebacker home in case of any sort of route here out of Donovan Edwards. But they're sending 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, delayed 6. All right. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you should be able to pick this up, right? I just don't think Michigan had the appropriate shift here on the, or I shouldn't say shift. They didn't have a good protection. They passed off differently between Ladarius Henderson and Donovan Edwards, right? So if you look at left tackle, right, and this little stunt, this guy's getting pushed to the inside here and then looping around the outside. So Ladarius Henderson is going to pass this defensive end off towards the inside, expecting Donovan Edwards to pick that up. And Ladarius Henderson addresses this linebacker. And the mistake here is that both Ladarius Henderson and Donovan Edwards are taking this outside rusher. That leaves this guy who's attacking the inside completely free. Now, how do they actually teach this, right? I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to tell you, all right? I don't know exactly how this is taught. To me, this is what makes the most sense. If this guy's ducking inside here, right? This guy's ducking inside. He's an imminent threat, okay? Imminent threat, also a defensive end. That should be the left tackle's assignment, right? Defensive lineman for offensive lineman. This guy is a more immediate threat. He's also bigger, right? So in terms of assignment football, it makes more sense to match up your left tackle on an actual defensive end than pass this assignment off to your smaller running back, right? He's less adept at handling that pass rush in general. But I don't know how this is taught, right? I don't know how this is taught. Real quick, call out Angela here. happy birthday, future birthday to your dad, 80th. That's awesome. That'll be really fun. That'll be really cool. So shout out to you, Angela. That's really fun. Okay. I did not mean to do that. Okay. So that's my take on it, where left tackle should probably take defensive end, and then linebacker, right? Anyone on a blitz, that makes more sense for your running back, the less imminent threat to take, right? That's what makes sense to me. Instead, Ladarius Henderson passes him off to the inside, and there's a clear miscommunication. So regardless of which way it was supposed to go, someone messed up. It's one of the two of them. I would probably err on the side of Ladarius Henderson messing that up, but again, I don't actually know. Could guard have missed a shift left? I don't think so, because they have the appropriate bodies here, right? You have the appropriate bodies where this guy is potentially coming late, right? And you need a body here to accommodate this guy blitzing, right? And you have 3-on-3 right here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, right? So I think the numbers are appropriate in how they handled it. Just the pass off there of deciding to let the defensive end through the middle there. I don't think that's a good call. But give a lot of credit to JJ McCarthy here, right? He recognized the pressure, says, hey, there's nothing open right away. I need to duck out because there's pressure, right? So just a good job. And then I love how he puts number 6 in conflict right away, right? That little point puts number 6 in conflict. He has to decide, hey, do I come up here, right? Or do I follow this? And he makes the wrong decision, right? But by pointing him away, what is he doing? He's creating distance between himself and the wide receiver with not a lot of defenders here, right? So he's opening up room on 3rd and 10 here to either run it, right, or convert for a huge play. So it's a really good job from him to recognize that, right? Recognize that open space, attack it, and put number 6 in conflict. He did that on the fly, right? So that is just great football instincts to give your tight end that directive, and really good job for Colson Loveland to make that adjustment as well, right? That's just a really solid decision from both players here. Probably should have started from this angle. So yeah, with that pressure here, just nothing quick, right? None of these routes are quick. So yeah, there's really like no notes beyond that. This is just guys being dudes, right? Making a really good decision. You saw that arm point there for JJ McCarthy. And number 6 is out in the island. Didn't make the right choice, right? So, I mean, this is what we've seen from JJ McCarthy, especially rolling out to his right. He's extremely comfortable in those situations. He dictates a touchdown. Really good job. And then, yeah, great blocking down the field. That's a great point, John, in the comments here. Good job from Morris. Good job from Roman Wilson. That brings us from, a huge pickup to a touchdown. Again, you don't have to do a whole lot, right? You don't have to do anything crazy at the end of this play, right? If you're one of those wide receivers, you don't have to like make a pancake. You just have to make things annoying, right? Let Colson Loveland run through or run around where you're harassing these guys, right? That's it. So really good job, right? And this is really tough because what do you do as the defense, right? They did everything pretty well, right? These are things that are very difficult to coach, like what you do during that play. How do you coach that, right? You're just kind of playing backyard football. So that's really difficult to teach a defense. All right, let's move on to defense here. Michigan up 28-7 at this point. Still.
IU. And they'll run it.
Great assignment football here, right? Really good job all around. And they were doing this. They were saying, you know what? We're not going to let the running back take on this. We're going to force you to attack with your quarterback. All right. So they're sending Braden McGregor in, right? Read option here. He's reading Braden McGregor. Braden McGregor is saying, I'm taking out the running back, right? All day. I want you to keep it, right? They're sending this guy across here. And then they're keeping with the quarterback. And what I like is you're replacing, right? Because you're sending Braden McGregor down, you need to reset the edge. Your edge player is tanking to the middle. Reset your edge with Junior Colson. Right? So Junior Colson is coming down. He sets the edge, right? Now he's the new edge player. It's really difficult for the offensive line, right? Because you're changing the target pretty pretty quickly from Braden McGregor into a linebacker. That's a tough pickup, right? So he does a really good job shutting down the outside here, right? You have bodies to the outside to deal with this, right? If this is thrown, you have enough bodies to expect that you'll be able to shut anything here down. So remember, we had the earlier play. If you remember last time back on Tuesday with Trevor, Sainristil did a little bit too much here, where he jumped and left a huge lane for Sorsby to take off. Right, Junior Colson does a much better job here. He cuts this off, right? Cuts that off. Maybe he could have broken down a little bit more to make that tackle. But it's a good job from Mason Graham making himself big there and able to make that big play. So give Mason Graham a ton of credit. I think Junior Colson did his job. He could have done a little bit better, but Mason Graham went from, being on a double team and on the ground right here, right? This is where second effort comes into play, right? And then he gets up, recognizes it, and boom, makes a tackle for loss. It's a great play. Really good job from him. Dude's a monster. All right, moving on. 3rd and 10. 11:41 to go in the third.
3rd and 10 of the 25 for Indiana. Sorsby in trouble. Sorsby, and he's sacked.
Coverage sack. All right, let's see if we got the other angle for this. Yeah, we have the defensive line. So we don't really get a good picture of what's happening down the field here. But Michigan's sending a clever little stunt here, a little delay blitz from multiple bodies. So it's a pretty complex little twist, right? You're bringing Junior Colson up to the line of scrimmage here, and he's going to do like a little hesitation, and then they're sending Michael Barrett on a delayed blitz, right? So they're sending Jenkins straight up here on the nose right here. And Junior Colson's just going to wait, right? So just watch Junior Colson for a second. He's just going to do a little hesitation there. Bray McGregor's going to attack the inside here, right? And then you're going to loop around with Junior Colson, right? Loop around there with Junior Colson. So there he goes, right? And then you're bringing Michael Barrett. He's pretty much like a spy here. Spy watching, kind of mirroring the quarterback here. But he's going to wait, right, until you have Junior Colson threatening the outside here. And then Michael Barrett is almost going to do like a little counter to work his way through here, kind of off the butt here of Braden McGregor. Right? You see that? Boom. Right? As soon as you have the committal of this guard, right, and then this offensive tackle, these guys are both going to commit. And then Michael Barrett has a free lane here off the butt there of Braden McGregor and right off the butt there of Junior Colson. And look at that free lane, right? No one can get there. And then everyone else is just winning, right? I mean, this is a long developing pass rush. Another stun at the top of the play. Josiah Stewart working to the inside, long developing loop to the outside of Jalen Harrell. This is meant to be a long developing pass rush, right? Go to the inside, little stutter, work to the outside, delay blitz, right? And you expect this stunt to constrain anything to the outside. You expect this to get home, right? So here, where is he going to duck out, right? Where are you going to duck out? Because you got Junior Colson cutting off the outside. Your middle is done. And then you have a late developing stun on the outside here. That's 3 points of attack, right? You're done. You're done. There's nowhere to go. And watch, right when everything converges, right when he realizes, oh, crap, I'm in trouble. Look where he can go, right? Just like I said, boom, can't go there. There's Junior Colson. Can't go here. That's where Michael Barrett is threatening. And then Jalen Harrell winning on the outside as well, right? He's the beneficiary here because guess what? You're getting through and, oh, yeah, Josiah Stewart's there as well, right? So terrifying, right? And yes, the defensive line gets a ton of credit here. There's a coverage sack as well because this is a decent amount of time for the quarterback to get the ball out, right? But right when he's looking to throw here, right, you can kind of see none of the targets here because you're manned up here for Michigan. None of these targets look especially good for your quarterback, right? Are you really going to throw man-to-man coverage with Will Johnson right there? I don't think so. I wouldn't. So, yeah, coverage sack, but also really well-executed stunt from the defensive line as a whole. And Michigan's rolling here. All right, let's get back. 28-7 on offense here, past midfield. Michigan driving here midway through the third.
2nd and 1. Here's a handoff, first down, Michigan, Corum.
Shifty little run here. Shifty little run. And this is into kind of a stacked box, right? There are free rushers here. So let's see. Is this an actual read? I'm not exactly sure. Right? This seems a little odd to me because it seems like the blocking is very interesting because it's just kind of you look at your left tackle, right? It's almost like you're trying to sell. Watch Ladarius Henderson here. It's almost like he's trying to sell the pass here, right? Watch his feet. There's Henderson, a little shuffle there, almost like a little draw play. So anyway, you're outnumbered where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 offensive linemen for 6, right? 6 against 5. Those are losing numbers. So how do you win this, right? I mean, I think you just make a guy miss, right? I mean, that's how Blake Corum wins this. If it's me and I'm Michigan, it seems like this is meant to be a read of some sort here, right? Maybe it's supposed to be an RPO, but none of these guys look like they're going out for a route, right? So to me, if I'm JJ McCarthy, I'm probably keeping this if this is an actual read, because then you got 1, 2, 3 blockers to the outside. These 2 guys are on the inside, right? Who's actually going to be able to get out there, right? So maybe this isn't a live read because the numbers suggest that the box is not advantageous for your offense for an interior run. And I feel like the play kind of bears that out, right? You have you don't have the bodies to reach out to that linebacker. He's able to free release out there, right? But Blake Corum is just able to make a miss, right? That's just quick feet from Blake Corum. And then another really great block. Gives Inter some credit for getting out to the second level. Right, this is only possible because Inter is getting movement here. So that gives Blake Corum the avenue to make this cut, right? He does. So anyway, really good job from Blake Corum, maximizing yards, creating his own yardage here. But yeah, I am curious if this was a live read or not. And yeah, I don't know. Even if you are watching this guy come up a little bit, you should have the blockers here anyway, right? You should have enough bodies for any sort of outside run. So maybe, it's 28-7. You're comfortable. Maybe the live reads weren't on here, and that's what necessitates the give in that situation. But regardless, Blake Corum doing Blake Corum things. Not going to complain about that. All right, moving forward here, 1st and 10, right around the 30-yard line.
From Crystal Lake, Illinois. Now McCarthy steps up. McCarthy wants to run. McCarthy gets outside. And McCarthy's tight rope in the sideline.
Just so annoying, man. So annoying to defend against JJ McCarthy because there's another play where you do a decent enough job, right? You're forcing JJ McCarthy up in the pocket here. It is, initially won by the offensive line, but Nugent does eventually get beat here. Right? It's a good pocket initially to step up into, right? But eventually Nugent does get beat, right? Let's see if there's any options to throw towards here. It seems like JJ McCarthy is possibly reading here for this sort of cross route here for Roman Wilson. Kind of seems like that's where the eyes are, but nothing appears to be there initially. Can't pull the trigger there, and then he starts to notice the pressure, right? Doesn't like what he sees, starts to take off, right? Boom. Take off, and now he's just in run mode, right? It seems like he maybe had something up here, right? Maybe that was available to him. Can't really tell from this angle. I think he did probably have Barner. But regardless, making guys miss, right? Making guys miss. And then give a lot of credit to Barner for getting a block here, right? Coming back, making a giant block there, giving some extra yards to JJ McCarthy. And again, Roman Wilson, right? Continually blocking down the field through the play, right? You don't have to pancake a guy, just make it annoying. That probably bought a couple extra yards. Let me see. Is Zinter taught to come off and help right tackle instead of starting to help with Nugent? Let me see. Yeah, it's a good question. I'm not sure. I feel like that's him just I don't know. I feel like that might change game to game, right? Where it's like, hey, their defensive end is really good. Let's give priority in pass protection to helping out the tackles here instead of helping out the nose tackle, right? I feel like that is a game-to-game thing, not necessarily an every single down sort of directive. But again, I'm not in the room. I don't exactly know how that's taught from each game to each game. But that's how I would do it. But again, I'm not sure. So that's a fair question, Dylan. I don't have an answer for you there. All right, second and goal here.
Goal at the 7. They bring number 7, Donovan Edwards, in. He's lined up as a receiver. They throw it to the far side on the hitch. And this is Morgan trying to make moves. Touchdown Wolverines.
Whop. Right? I mean, that is a whop and a half. Let me get the closer angle here. All right, let's get this angle first, because this is just a Chris Berman special, right? I remember watching this play in the stadium and be like, wow, running this on the short side of the field, right? You're snapped on the right hash. But the advantage of that is you're getting the ball out to him as quick as possible, right? And you're letting him work as soon as he gets the ball. But I mean, you pause right here, and you're telling me he's getting a touchdown, right? Boom. Just barreling through. Thing I like most is his footwork. All right, let's back up a little bit here. His footwork after making that guy miss, right? Yeah, I mean, he's got such quick little feet. It's crazy. And then able to put your head down. I mean, he's not a big guy. He's like 170, right? Just powering through. And then look at the high knees. Look at the high knees here. This is what I meant by his footwork, right? Boom, barrels him out. Look at the high knees. Look at that. Because he has, right, number 5 is trying to take out his leg. Look at that footwork. That's where the drills come in, right? Why do you do high knees? Boom, high knee, right? Power your way through. Then really good job there from Keegan to help out, pull his buddy into the end zone. So, I mean, this is just that's why they're getting the ball in his hand, right? A little jitterbug. I think that should be his nickname, right? Just setting it up. It looked like that Dante Hall play. Remember Dante Hall against the Broncos? He had that play on the sideline, just making people look crazy. This is that play. So, yeah, I mean, it's just a mess on the sideline here, right? Give a lot of credit to, even a lot of credit here to Barnhart for attempting and getting this guy off balance, right? A lot of credit to Loveland. I mean, they're at least getting out to blocks, right? They're at least getting out there. They're not giving up. They're finding bodies, right? They're creating chaos, right? So it's organized chaos, though, right? And then the rest is just Morgan, right? So this is why you don't give up on a play, right? You just don't give up on it. Just keep going out there. Find a body, right? Find a body, because guys like Samaj Morgan can make it work, right? He finds a way to make this work. I don't know how, right? I don't expect a 170-pound guy to barrel over that guy, right? He barrels over this defensive back right here. Boom. I mean, he bowls over that guy. That's crazy. And power his legs. Yeah, look at those high knees. Love to see that. Love to see that. Put his head down, nose for the end zone. Good job. All right, boom. Get out of my way. And then, yeah, he's fighting through. That's like a defensive end, right? Oh, it's fun, man. That's just a fun play. That's just what you want. All right, let me see. Adam Shepardson says, live, it kind of looked like JJ got it out a half second late. Let's see. Yeah, it didn't seem like he got the snap super cleanly, but it seems like he got it there relatively quickly. It's just crazy that he was able to get to the end zone. Like, I did not think that was possible. You pause it at multiple times. They only find the craziest pause time for this to say it's going to be a touchdown right here. You think this is going to be a touchdown right here? Like that's crazy right here. This is kind of a crazy, right? This is a nuts screen grab as well. Like, yeah, this guy scores on this play. It's like, what? Yeah. So really good job. Really good job. Really fun. He's going to be a fun player. And that's something that, like, I feel like I didn't take into account where, I mean, there's going to be a lot of guys you lose after this year, right? That's just the reality of it. And this is a young player. And you have to remember, like, I keep having to remind myself of, like, oh, yeah, there's, like, Samaj Morgan. There's Darius Clemens. There's who's the guy who scored later in the game? Not Kendrick Bell. Carmelo English, right? Carmelo English as well. So you got a lot of good wide receiver depth here. Really young guys showing out as well. Yeah, so really fun. And then I meant to clip it. Let me see if I can do this live real quick. I thought I had it. Hold on, give me a sec, guys. I want to find the actual clip of his little celebration with no, it's not a commercial. Shoot. He had a little celebration with Donovan Edwards that I thought was really sweet because they're both West Bloomfield guys, right? They're both West Bloomfield guys, and they had a nice celebration in the end zone. So that was a really cool moment for them to be able to share that. Was it here? Yeah, right here. All right, there's JJ McCarthy right here. So they had it was a really long celebration. They only caught the tail end of this. But, in part one, I kind of showed some of the frustration that Donovan Edwards was having, right, of not getting in the end zone, some of the chewing out that he was receiving from Mike Hart and stuff, a lot of frustration there, right? But he's still able to get up and get excited for a young guy like Samaj Morgan, right? So that's what you want to see, right? When a guy's having, maybe not the season he wants in Donovan Edwards, still able to get up and enjoy and celebrate when teammates, especially guys, he probably was talking pretty closely with Samaj Morgan, being from West Bloomfield, having that sort of connection. It's really cool. It's really cool to see them enjoy those little moments. So that's really cool for them. So I was really happy to see that. That made me smile. Okay, let's get back. That was this play. Let's move on here back to defense.
9 at the 26, empty backfield. Yeah.
Oh, we got to replay with the full audio. Come on. Why the audio cut out?
Down 9 at the 26, empty backfield. And a sack. How about that? Michigan bringing pressure.
I mean, what more can you say about Michael Barrett, right? He was Pro Football Focus's, I think, top defender of the week, at least the best linebacker of the week. He's a monster. And between him and Sanerstill, right? Talk about one of the most influential unsung players come through the program. Stick around and make it work at a position different than where they were recruited for, right? That defines the career of both of Michael Barrett and Mike Sanerstill. And their importance on these teams in the past couple of years has been huge, just absolutely huge. So he's a monster, right? Such a great play. And he's such a great blitzer, right? Give a lot of credit here to Michigan's defensive line, right? Nice rush here. And again, what's the whole goal here? The whole goal is leave a path for Michael Barrett, right? Attack this gap, occupy these two guys, right? If that doesn't work, attack this gap, occupy these two guys, right? Bring someone off the edge here. 467 out, 476 to take this on, right? Force 50 to take this on. Boom. Got a free gap there, right? You're not going to be able to shift that appropriately. And by crossing the face here, right? Crossing the face here of your defensive lineman, that's going to take 50 away from that, right? By threatening the edge this much, you need to send 67 over here, and then you need to send 76 right there. So that creates just a natural gap right away for Michael Barrett to come through, right? And having no one in the backfield here, I don't really know what this little push out of Michael Barrett is meant to accomplish, right? Like he pushes off 76 here at the hip. I don't know why, but I mean, he must be taught to do that. Maybe it's to make himself small or something. Actually, I think that's it. I think maybe he's doing this, right? And maybe I'm wrong here, but maybe he's doing this to make the quarterback think like, oh, he's getting blocked, right? Like, oh, he's accounted for, like he's taking on a block or something. Then he just sneaks his way through, right? Maybe that's it. But it's really interesting. I noticed that he pushes 76 kind of out of the way and kind of launches off of that into the quarterback. Really clever, kind of comes out of nowhere. And then, I mean, you also have Josiah Stewart, right, coming off the edge here. He completely wins off the edge as well, right? Just huge rush from him. So you had two guys there. And then the presence of mind of Michael Barrett after this, right? Nose on the football. Look where that helmet's at, right? Nose on the football. And then boom, recognizes, oh yeah, there's a ball here. That's my ball, right? Huge. John says, I think he's taught to hug the lineman to make himself skinny. I think that's probably true. I think it's probably true. I don't think he had to do it, but I do think maybe it's something where, yeah. I mean, it's probably a lot harder to see, right? If he comes straight through right here, right? Straight through right here, maybe he's expecting 56 to possibly react to this, right? If he comes straight through here, maybe he's also thinking this could be a potential escape gap if Josiah Stewart doesn't win on the edge. It could be any number of those things. But anyway, he makes himself pretty small here, right? It's pretty tough to see, kind of shielded off by 76 there, and then boom, I'm in your lap. I got the ball. So really good job. Such a player, man. One of my favorite players. It's really hard to choose between him and Sainristil for like stuck around, right? Just stuck around in the program, became champions. It's really great story for him. All right. 1st and 10, 7:39 to go.
Glasses, 1st down and 10. At the 15, Edwards.
This was tough. Let me see. Why did I clip this? I think I just wanted Donovan Edwards to go, right? I feel like I just wanted him, like, I can respect the patience here, right? To wait for the Roman Wilson block here, because I feel like he wants to cut right here, right? He wants to get there. But he just doesn't not quite able to get out there. And then this is the initial double here, and then reaching out to the linebacker. Guess who? I think that's 44 again, right? Aaron Casey. I'm getting the sense from this film of like, this is what Michigan saw in Ernest Hausman, right? Where it's like, God, this guy just is a player. And I think Aaron Casey is quite a bit older, right? But Aaron Casey able to flow over to that backside, makes a really great diving play. He's a great linebacker. He impressed me a ton in this game, but I do think that that Donovan Edwards just needs to put this on, right? He needs to keep his eyes up a little bit and do a quick scan, right? Quick scan inside out and realize, hey, I need to go here and then maybe cut back, right? Instead, he just waits a little bit too long, lets 44 get to his ankles before he can turn on the jets. So he's just like a half step slower than and like not actually slower, but like processing. I feel like he's just not quite making the right decision each time. So, I mean, I think it's a tough block for Zinter, right? Like, I don't think Zinter can really get out there to 44, especially with the way that the defensive line is kind of slanting here, right? He just kind of gets caught up. But, I mean, the blocks are there, right? Bredesen's getting really great movement. I think Roman Wilson does an admirable job here. I think Donovan Edwards just maybe has to turn it on a little bit. And, again, hat tip to 44. Aaron Casey, great linebacker. Really good linebacker. And he's just making a play. Okay, moving on. 2nd and 8.
Moving it around. 2nd down and 8 at the 13. Play fake. McCarthy steps up and sacked again. That's a 4.
Lucky to get this ball back, right? All right, so what happens on this play? How many are Indiana sending? How many are Michigan keeping in for pass protection? This is max protect pretty much, right? So Barnhart just gets beat. I don't think Barnhart had a really good day. I think I would call it not the best day for him. So he gets blown back here, right? This is kind of an initial power rush out of this defensive end. just kind of bowls through him, right? Pushes Barnhart towards the quarterback and then is able to get to J.J. McCarthy's hands, right? So not the best job. I give a lot of credit for the rest of the pass protection. I think it's all there, right? Bredesen has a really difficult block. You got a free rusher off the edge here. Bredesen has to come across and match this, right? Big collision point. I think Bredesen does an excellent job picking that up. So that creates enough of a pocket here for J.J. McCarthy to step up. But yeah, Barnhart just gets beat, right? And those are the little things that will cost you. And I think if you had an extra beat here, right, for J.J. McCarthy to step up, I don't think this would potentially come open just based on number 6's movement, but I think you got Tyler Morris here, right? I don't know if that's where J.J. McCarthy, because J.J. McCarthy is looking towards the left side here. I don't know if he'll be able to come off of that to see Tyler Morris approaching that right pylon, but it seems like Tyler Morris on that cross near the goal line there would potentially be an option. Maybe not, right? But regardless, just got to do a better job there if you're Carson Barnhart. Good job for Nugent fighting for the ball, right? Able to get that back, salvage, I think what was a field goal, right? But yeah, can't do that if you're Barnhart, right? You gave up a ton of ground. That power rush got home, and can't do that. Can't let him get to the quarterback. Man, that rain was nasty. I did not enjoy being in the stand for that. Let me rephrase. I always enjoy being in the stands for a Michigan football game. Wish it was a little bit better weather. But anyway, 38-7 now, nearing the end of the third quarter.
Clearly getting great quarterback play out of McCord. They've got Marvin Harrison Jr., in a defense, by the way, that's playing way better than what they...
I mean, again, what can you say about Michael Barrett, right? Dude is a Viper. Now he's one of Michigan's, I would argue, is Michigan's best linebacker. He looks like a pro. Looks like a pro linebacker out here. So really good job. Really good job. And this is assignment football. Just assignment football for Mike Barrett. Does an exceptional job shifting to the play, right? He kind of holds up, waits to see if it's going to the interior, and he does a great job beating to the outside, right? I mean, good luck, right? You have a little running back trying to take on the block against Michael Barrett. Michael Barrett's gonna win that block 99 times out of 100, right? So it's a really good job beating that block and then getting into the backfield. No shot, right? Amorian Walker still isn't ready, right? I feel like he's still gonna get that red shirt, but nice to get him in there, right? And I give him credit for recognizing the play. Right, you watch number 1 here. He recognizes this is just sort of a crack replace, right? So as soon as you recognize that, work towards the backfield, right? So he recognizes that, but man, is he a twig, right? He just is too little. He looks like a baby deer out there still. But good job, right? He was there, able to clean up, but give a lot of credit to Michael Barrett for making the initial contact there. But yeah, Maureen Walker there to clean up, and then you got Jalen Harrell and Quint Johnson there as well. All right, looking at 3rd and 13. Yeah, Mr. Martini says what block? It wasn't a great one.
To play most of the game. Here's Sorsby. Quick release. Up high, caught.
I mean, just a great play. Great play from Quentin Johnson, right? And what I kind of approach this is, hey, if you're going to hang your wide receiver out to dry, right, punish them legally, right? I don't want to ever see a target, but punish them legally, right? And Quentin Johnson does that, right? If he wants to go up and try to catch that on the sideline, take him out of bounds, right? Take him out of bounds, and this is exactly how you approach that, right? He gets up, take him out at the hip, right, at the legal hit, and more than likely he's going to land out of bounds. Now he does land on his head here, right? But I would also argue here, okay, yeah, his head does touch first. I don't know actually the rule, right? I don't know the actual rule about head touching first. But regardless, that ball comes free. You see right there, right? Boom. You can see his right hand loses contact with the ball. He's forming a fist there with his right hand. That ball comes free and it rolls around. Joel Klatt said that, right? You can see the ball between his legs moving there, clearly moving. Clearly no Clearly no possession here, and this view shows it as well. Right? Boom, there's your hit. Okay, everything looks fine so far, right? Looks fine. Oh, there's the ball, right? You can see the ball right here moving clearly. Moving clearly right there. Right in between his legs. You can see that ball moving. I don't know. Yeah, first of all, glad he's okay. I was surprised he was all right as well, because that's a nasty fall, right? Scary, legal, right? Heck of a job going up and holding on to that ball as long as he did. That's not a catch, right? Right here, I don't know how you possibly call this a completion. I don't know why. I don't know how. Don't know how. But they did. Anyway, good coverage, right? Good coverage. He got there right on time. Quinn Johnson got there right on time. Does exactly what you should do in those situations, right? So a huge hit, punish them legally. And that's what he did, right? Should have been called incomplete. Should have been a punt. That's a negative for the refs. Okay, 4th and 3. Back to the positives here. And real quick, Quentin Johnson's doing a great job. Really, really happy with how he's shown out so far this season. Really great to have a 4th safety like that. It's going to continue to run through the season.
The sore subject. So on 4th and 3, Indiana going for it. Sorsby in trouble, lost the ball, picked up. Michigan has it. How about the big?
This is hilarious. How Mason Graham runs is hilarious. Really funny to me. Okay, anyway, really well. Again, just assignment football, right? Really well done all around. Jalen Harrell does a great job, right? You have edge contain here. Watch the edge, watch for this, right? As soon as he notices, hey, quarterback still has the ball, go for the ball, right? Watch Jalen Harrell here. Really good job. Boom, right? Quarterback still has the ball, get into the backfield, right? Threatens that, gets his hand up. Notice that left hand up, right? Cut him off, right? You're not getting to the outside of me. As soon as he redirects, boom, cuts back inside. He doesn't actually cause the fumble, right? But he forces the reaction there to the quarterback. So I call this like an indirect forced fumble, right? I don't know if he actually got a forced fumble stat, but anyway, really good job. Let's back it up here. Really good job from your linebacker here. I believe this is Junior Colson, right? This looks like a block coming across here, right? It looks like it's going to be a block on the edge. He's continuing out into the flat, right? And this is good eyes here for Junior Colson on your key, right? Follow him out there. Follow him out to the flat. Really good assignment football to recognize that and to take that away, right? So even if Jalen Harrell's there, if Junior Colson isn't appropriately on this, right? If he's not appropriately here, this could be a little floater, right? A dump off. But because Junior Colson is there, that's not an option. Quarterback has to duck back inside. And then the final aspect is, the scoop. We have a better angle of this, so let's shift to that. But look at the running. The running of Mason Graham after he picks up that ball is just so funny. It's hilarious to me. So here you go. Sorry about the graphics. This is the only one that actually has the scoop. So here you see the actual fumble, right? There's the fumble. Nothing that Jalen Harrell actually touches to cause the fumble. But again, his play forced the quarterback inside. I'm fine if they want to give him a forced fumble because he did a great job. And then look at that scoop. Use that club, right? I mean, heads up play. Heads up play. And then look at the big man rumbling, stumbling, right? Big guy. Good luck. It's funny. A little spin move at the end, too. But yeah, really funny play. Great job, right? Good awareness. Takes an athlete, right? Use that one hand in the club. It's going clubbing. Here we go. Dude's a monster. All right, good play all around. Back on the offense. I think we got some Ben Hall clips. Some Benjamin Hall. Let's get it going.
That's what it feels like. I would agree with you. I could just hear John Facenda, the voice of NFL film, saying something about Michigan. Oh, how about James Earl Jones?
So we had Khalil Mullings out, right, with I believe a hand injury. I think he's probably expected to be back for after the bye week for the Purdue game. But Benjamin Hall, he was one of the guys I expected to really break out this year, and he's shown a lot of really, really solid signs. So every year I tweet out a group of like underrated players or players that I think are going to break out, and Benjamin Hall was one of them. I didn't expect Khalil Mullins to show out like the way he did, so maybe I was a little bit wrong here, but Benjamin Hall has really good instincts and really good vision, and I feel like it's what makes Mike Hart really solid coach is also his scouting, right? He's able to find this guy. I think Benjamin Hall was like 108th running or 108th recruit out of Georgia, right? 108th in Georgia, not overall, out of the state of Georgia. And he's solid, man. He's solid. So you got a nice double team here. Drake Nugent is going to come off of that onto this linebacker. Just watch the vision here, the hesitation for Benjamin Hall, right? Hesitates, wait for that block to develop, waits for just a little crease here, right? You got Zinter pushing out a little bit here. You have Barnhart in a battle. And then you just have a little bit of horizontal movement here, just a couple little cuts there. And then you put the head down, right? Now, maybe there's a better path for Benjamin Hall here, right? Because he has to sidestep that block for Nugent, right? There's a lot of movement going on here. So he hesitated just a little bit, able to take off. Maybe you can work between here of Zinter and Barnhart, right? Say he goes to the right of Barnhart here. If he goes to the left, maybe there's a little bit of a crease there. But regardless, look at him go, right? Able to just continue that pile, gets additional, 5-6 yards. Dude's a hoss, right? Really, really good. Really good play. And there's a couple runs, right? I got like 4 or 5 of them of him consistently churning out yards. Really good.
Experience, one that you can feel like you can rely on in any big moment.
Here's a handoff. Hall. And he gets
kind of looks like the spring game, like this is what we saw from him from the spring game, and just maximizing yardage, right? I don't feel like there's anything necessarily special about this, but he does a really good job here. Good blocking up front, right? What are some key blocks here? So you got double team right here, double, and then you're going to have Nugent reach out. I believe it's Nugent who reaches out to get to this linebacker, right? And then you're pulling across with Bredesen to pick up this linebacker, right? And then you just need some patience here. You need some patience and then fire up the hole through right behind Bredesen. Really good job, right? Right here. So he waits, say a little hop step, right? I feel like that's something Mike Hart and Corum do, or Mike Hart teaches and Blake Corum does extremely well in the backfield. Let your blocks develop and look at that timing, right? As soon as he starts to take off, that's when the blocks are set. Boom. Now you can go, right? Now you can go. And then it's the vision, right? Really good job right here, right? To recognize, hey, do I hit this hole, right? Do I try to go here or do I go to the outside? And that's advanced. That's advanced, right? Because he's recognizing that this guy's going to fall off here and they're going to converge right about here, right? So that 21-yard line. So he recognizes, hey, there's probably better potential out here, right? So that's really good instincts. That's what are hard to teach in situations like that, where again, he could have been down at probably the 21 or so yard line, gets all the way down to the 10, right? So he buys himself an extra 10 yards. So yeah, just a nice patient run from out of the backfield, right? Lets his blocks develop here. Good blocking as well, right? You got to give Zinter a ton of credit. 65, you can see him washing down that defensive tackle. That creates a huge hole. It's a really good job. But then he's just able to follow his blocks, right? And then make good decisions. Boom, cut to the outside, right? Good blocking from Carmelo English there. Really good job from, who is that? Moore on the outside. Yeah, so Fred Moore. So good job. Good job finding your blocks there and good blocking all around. Good patience. All right, let's keep it going here. 1st and goal.
Guy to get out there and get his chance.
Michigan inside the red zone. 1st down and goal at the 10. All again.
And I include this one because on the surface, it doesn't look that impressive, right? What was it, a 3-4 yard gain? But again, it's all about maximizing the yardage. And this was not a good situation for him, right? He didn't have a whole lot off of this, right? Look at what he's looking at here when he receives the ball, right? You're losing the block right here, right? This block isn't really here. And then you got 2 free flowers here, right? You're looking good on this side, right? This side, you got plenty of blockers, but you got 1, 2, 3 defenders here. Good block from Henderson, and you only got 2 blockers. So you got to make something happen here, right? So it's a really good job of reading, hey, this isn't a good situation. He recognizes that I gotta let something happen. So even though, who is that? I don't even know who that is. Is that Keegan? Yeah. Even though Keegan isn't doing the best job here, let your block develop in front of you, right? Bredesen. Let Keegan do something here on this block, right? So watch Ben Hall just buy time, right? Buys time with his cut to the left. That buys time for Keegan to continue on his block, do something with that defensive lineman, and then he's able to cut off of that, right? Boom. Okay. Now I'll go get some yards, right? That's footwork, that's patience, that's making the most out of a really, really difficult situation, right? I feel like most other running backs would see this and just try to like bail out, right? Just try to maybe barrel in here, try to do something. They would be a little bit less patient, but Ben Hall shows great patience there and really good footwork following his block. I love how he puts his hand on the back there of Bredesen, saying, hey, I need to create some space here. Like space is not, I don't have a whole lot of it. I'm right here. Keep going. And he helps dictate where Bredesen is going, right? Just with that little hand on his back, he's letting him know where he's at, right? And look at how much that dictates where Bredesen is going. That creates a crease. So that's really sharp, right? That's really sharp and that's intuitive, right? It's really hard to coach that, I feel. Maybe you can, but those are things that are just, I feel like innate, natural running instincts that Ben Hall really shows. And then we get Donovan Edwards in here, right? First touchdown of the season for him. Let's go.
This might be his time right here.
3rd down and goal at the 2. Edwards. Looks like.
All right, finally get in the end zone, right? Finally. Back Tuttle, giving the handoff here. That's where he had to go, right? Now, if I'm Donovan Edwards, just dive right here, right? Just dive over the pile right here, right? Make it easier for yourself. Dive, go flying over, right? Anyway, I love Jack Tuttle getting in here and pushing, making sure that the ball is over the end zone. And then I really like this afterwards, right? It's almost like there's an inside joke of just like he's allergic to the end zone, right? It feels like there's just been a ton of bad luck for Donovan Edwards, and they're almost like overly celebrating him, like it's a joke, right? So they're having fun with it, right? I don't think this was like it feels like it was all in good spirits. So I thought it was funny, like how animated they all were, like overly so, like they were all in on the joke a little bit. So great to get that monkey off his back, right? Just like get that pass and keep it lighthearted, like it's gonna come, right? And it's like, okay, get that one, right? Get that one. And now we're back, right? Look at how everyone's jumping around and excited for him. It's just really funny. So anyway, happy he got that one. Okay, let's move back. Only a few more plays here, but let's get through it. On defense, 45-7 at this point.
Offseason, I'll tell you, that freshness is going to really pay off down the stretch.
Here's a deep pass. Jackson back in the game, and it's intercepted. Another interception this time, Saab.
This is just a moon shot, right? I don't think there's much to glean from this instead of, hey, way to keep your eyes on the ball, right? Pass rush wasn't really getting there. I don't know what the quarterback was looking at here. Actually, you know what? If this ball is appropriately placed, when I mean appropriately placed, I mean more like along this route, right? Then maybe that's a good location for it. But it's overthrown. It's behind the wide receiver. And that's just a 500 ball, right? Say 500, and then he catches it out in the playground, right? So anyway, have to show the turnover, right? Good job on Keon Saab at this point, right? You have him over the top, locate the ball, and it's your ball, right? You have just as right to the ball as he does. Go up and get it, right? And he does it. So, he gave a touchdown earlier. Nice to see him still locked in. He's still a great player, right? Young players make mistakes. Glad he got an interception, got the buffs for that one. All right, back on offense. I think we got another couple Benjamin Hall plays here.
The offseason. And so there's no way he's going to be caught dead with gloves or a hat on in a little rainstorm in the middle of
Again, look at just the subtleties, right? Because again, it's not like he's picking up a ton of yards here, but this is just little micro movements that he's able to do here to really make guys commit here, right? And he helps set up his blocks so well, right? So he notices the aggressive linebacker fighting through here, right? And apologies, I don't know everyone's number on the backup offensive line. I didn't read into that. But anyway, look how he sets up this linebacker getting through. And it's also going to set up this defensive lineman, right? Because this initial step inside here is going to force a lot of the movement here towards this path. And then he's able to cut back to the outside here. Right? Boom. Look at that cut. Look at that cut to the outside. Really, really makes that linebacker pay. And he sets up that block extremely well, right? That defensive lineman is now out of the way. He allows 79. Is that? I don't know who that is. But really good job getting his body around on that block. And then watch him pick up extra yards here, right? This is 93. This is, where did he line up? That's a nose guard. All right, this is a nose guard right here. After he gets past the first down marker, he carries 93, an extra couple of yards there. I mean, doesn't carry him, right? But he's able to pick up an extra couple of yards. A big guy. So that's really good. Shadyville, Mason Graham, breakout player of the year. Saab deserves honorable mention. I mean, Mason Graham was already an exceptional player last year. So, I think Mason Graham is playing, especially like absolutely all conference level. You could argue all American, and you're probably not wrong, right? So from that front, yeah. I mean, he went from true freshman being, on maybe third team all Big Ten, if not better than that, right? And now he's elevated his game to a national level, right? He's nationally excellent as a defensive lineman, one of the best in the country, really. So you're not wrong in that sense of he's become one of the best players on this defense, bar none. But I do think Josiah Stewart is a breakout candidate where like truly guys who are contributing at a high level who either weren't expected to or I think maybe that's the best way to put it. I do think Saab deserves honorable mention because I don't think a lot of people were expecting him to have that year. So I do think Saab and Stewart are probably 1 and 2 of guys who are contributing who maybe are having a larger impact than they were expected to. But yeah, I mean, Mason Graham is, you could argue, Michigan's best defender. And that's even including Will Johnson, which is a crazy thing to say. That's a hot take of the night. All right, let's move on here. 2nd and 10. I think we got more Ben Hall. Let's keep it going.
Appreciate that.
Well, Coach Urban may have his hands full when you go down to the weight room. Here's Hall and a first down.
Again, man, look, just little micro movements here, right? Nothing crazy. He's not doing anything crazy here. But watch just the patience in the backfield, right? He receives the ball. He just waits an extra moment for his block to get to the second level, right? Just a moment before he ducks outside, right? That patience pays off huge, right? It pays off monumentally by doing that. Gives himself just enough time for that gap to form, and then just a subtle cut back, right? And he's just maximizing the yards. Not a whole lot more he could do there. So again, he has good timing, good patience, good burst. I think, I don't think he'll ever be. Let me back up. I don't know if he has the upside of a guy like Corum. I don't know if he does. But does he have the upside of a Haskins? I think so. He can be like a Karan Higdon Haskins type guy in terms of level of impact. I think absolutely. I think he has that skill set in him. I'm not counting him out. It's going to be really good. All right, 4th and goal here. Check it out. This is the last offensive play.
Benjamin Hall still in the backfield. This is personal for Tuttle. He's an Indiana transfer. In the end zone. Touch.
Nice little strike here. Right? This was a strike. Camilo English coming in here. And he's just going to run a little hesitation. Boom. Towards the back of the end zone. Right? Watch this. Little hesitation. Get around. Boom. Back of the end zone. You're in man. Good ball. Right? It's a good route. Not a bad route at all. And then, yeah, you just beam to the inside, right? No safety over the top. This is just, that's where you're looking the entire time if you're Jack Tuttle. That's your target. That's a well-thrown ball. It's exactly where it has to be. And good catch from Carmelo English. So good job, right? Able to get a touchdown off of his former team. That's a great job from Carmelo English, right? That's not an easy catch, especially in the rain to come down with that. Good for him, right? Nice to get his first touchdown as a Wolverine. All right, 4 more plays here on defense.
To their offense. And so that bar about 25.
It kind of feels like you're cheating when you put Benny here on like the second and third team defense, right? You got Rayshon Benny with a really nice move. Watch him just rip past this tackle. Boom, rip past. I'm in the backfield, take you down, right? That's all that play was. Just Rayshon Benny just absolutely demolishing a one-on-one block. And he has flashes, right? For Rayshon Benny, I still think he's an above average defensive tackle. I just think he needs to put it together, right? I just don't think he's that freak that you have in Mason Graham, right? Those guys are exceptional players, and I think Rayshon Benny is unfortunately on the same development path, just a little bit slower, right? So I think Rayshon Benny is great. He's going to be a really good player. I think give him another year. I think he'll develop into a really solid, like all conference type of player. But he just happened to be behind Chris Jenkins and Mason Graham, who are exceptional national level talents.
Be interested from your standpoint of where you think this team could rank amongst some.
Really good job on the edge. Is that 52? Is that Keyshawn Bennett? I think that's 52. Does a really good job. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. 52. I believe that's Keyshawn Bennett. I'm not 100% sure. But he does a really good job keeping his outside arm free. Watch his technique. Boom. Good arms. Extends the arms. And look at that shuck, right? Just a little shuck. Keeps his eyes in the backfield. Boom. Long arms. Good frame. Able to make that tackle. So really good technique from your edge, right? And he's still young. So that's really nice to see from your depth players, right? If you're not being like the guy right away, and it's not necessarily your time, the most you can show is promise, right? And this is what this is. This is really good technique, really good footwork, great hands, good shuck, and good responsible football, right? And that's how the coaching staff will continue to give you those reps, is when you can be trusted, right? It's one thing to be a standout, but to be trusted, to do your assignment, right, in crunch time, that's going to be what matters, right? So I think Michigan is in a zone here based just off of the eyes here, right? I think this is Keyshawn or just Harris, right? Are they both Keyshawn Bennett and Keyshawn Harris? Am I wrong? Anyway, Harris comes flying down there and run support as well, so good on him. But yeah, that play's made by Bennett. All right, moving forward here. 3rd and 9.
Extension, and now probably in line for another one, at least in my estimation.
And another fumble and another turnover. No, it looks like Indy.
I can't believe Michigan didn't come up with this one. Crazy unfortunate. But this is what I would call another coverage potential turnover, right? The pass rush wasn't initially there, right? I felt like quarterback ducked out a little bit too quick, right? But the zone was there. You look around and everything's relatively covered, right? So there's not a whole lot that you can throw to right now. You got everyone pretty much accounted for, sitting in the middle of the field here for anything coming across. This is well covered, right? This looks well covered between your safety and your corner. So not a whole lot of options, right? Pocket's relatively clean, but guys were getting depth behind you, so it just constricts that a little bit. And now he's ducking out, right? Now he's ducking out. And then little spin move here. That's a good tackle, right? Boom. Hat in the football. Right? That's a big hit coming down. I think that is 34. Is that Jaden Hood? Jaden Hood. That's got to be Jaden Hood. Good player, man. Jaden Hood. I feel like he's going to have his time. Let me check that. Number 34, Michigan football defense. I'm almost positive that's Jaden Hood. Probably could just check the chat. That's Hood. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, he's a good player. So I'm really excited about him. I mean, he looks like a defensive end. He's just big. He's huge. He's really big as a linebacker, but he is so athletic. Yeah, really nice job there. That's, man, such a great tackle, right? Boom. And then, yeah, I can't pause it right here, right? Pause it right here and tell me who recovers this ball, right? Tell me. That's nuts. That's nuts. Pause it right here, right? Right there, and tell me tell me Wolverine doesn't recover that ball. Oh, I can't believe it. Credit 56 for continuing, you know. Anyway, all right, last play here.
Sorsby looking, throws in the end zone, knocked away.
Keon Sabb, right? Keon Sabb. Really good play from him, right? Flush the pocket here. Let's see how the pass rush get there. I mean, pass rush is relatively well dealt with initially. Just, you know, maybe constricting a little bit. Got to roll out, and man, he gets crushed at the end here. Is that Jaden Hood again? No, who is that? 50. Is that Keyshawn Bennett? I don't know who that is. Who is this guy? That just comes flying up and takes out the quarterback. Boom. Anyway, really good job in support there. I mean, it would have been a really, really tough catch at the back of the end zone there for that wide receiver. Really good job for Keon Sabb to go up and make that play. Okay, boom. Look at that. Really nice job. Really good job. I love this fan in the stands right here. Ooh, right? What is that reaction? Whoa. But yeah, Keon Sabb, again, keeping his eyes on the ball, right? Ball is what you pay attention to, not the wide receiver in that sort of scenario, right? So really good job. Okay. All right, that's all I had for that. Let's talk Michigan State real quick. All right, let me shift. What's a better screen here? All right, let's shift to this. Michigan State. What do I think about Michigan State? Only player that I really, really like for their offense is Nathan Carter, their running back. I think he's a good running back, right? I feel like their offensive line is better than it has been in previous years. But, I mean, you watched that Michigan State-Rutgers game last week, and Hauser can do some things well, right? He can, but he's a young guy, right? And there were at least 2 passes that should have been picks. One of them should have been a pick 6, right? So his decision-making, his ability to read a defense, his ability to lead that offense to significant success, it's going to be limited. And if I'm Michigan, I'm putting that game in his hands. I'm forcing him to beat me if I'm Michigan. That's what I'm doing. Right now, I'm never going to say it's not possible for Michigan State to pull off the upset. Look at the 2020 year, right? I mean, we learned a lot about that 2020 Michigan team. It was an aberration of a year all around. But I went into that game thinking there was no shot Michigan was going to lose, right? Now, I think this year it's unfair to compare that to this year, a non-COVID year, and a season where we have, 6-7 games now of data to support that Michigan is an actual solid team compared to 2020. I just don't see it. I don't see it unless Michigan has a lot of turnovers. And even with a couple, I don't see how Michigan State is able to really stick around in this game. I think it's going to be a relatively close first and second quarter. I see it as like a 17-7 first half. I think Michigan rolls and wins something like 41-10. I think 41-10 is where I'm going to put this game. I think that's really where I think it's going to be. I don't know what Michigan State's approach is going to be in attacking this Michigan defense, but I don't see how Hauser has success. I don't. Unless they go with like an all pass interference offense, maybe they will. So anyway, unless there's some craziness, I don't expect this to be that close of a game. But again, never say never, right? Crazy things can happen in college football. I think Michigan's just too good of a team. I expect Michigan to roll and roll pretty comfortably. Okay. All right. This one went a little bit quicker. I am going to separate out the start of this video. And I don't know if I'll put it on the channel. Definitely put it on my Twitter at Osentoski. I want to share that just because I feel like that succinctly wraps up my thoughts on the whole sign stealing. But anyway, let's do this again next week, shall we? I'll be here. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you coming here. When I don't do these with Trevor, I really turn towards you guys to really contribute in the chat. So I saw some new faces, saw some old faces. Count 22, Shadyville, Adam Shepherdson. We saw a number of guys in here. Dylan Girk, you're always around. John A. Schultz, Antoine Johnson, Mr. Martini. So I appreciate all you guys. If there's any names that I missed, I'm sure I did. I didn't mean to. But I appreciate all your comments. The M-Turf, appreciate you coming around as well. So I appreciate all you guys. It means a lot, right? All of your support, any likes, shares, subscriptions to the channel, that all helps. And that all shows that you guys appreciate the content and it fuels more videos like this in the future. So appreciate you hanging around. Again, michigan.rivals.com for all things Michigan football. I'm in there chatting and looking at the boards. A lot of great intel from Josh and Trevor and the whole team there. So yeah, go over there, hang out. I'm over there relatively frequently. Great spot to be. And some of the best people in Michigan sports that I've been around in the space. So really lucky to be here. Lucky for you guys to continue to come back and spend this time with me. So appreciate you all. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Go Blue. Beat the Spartans. Steal some signs legally. And we'll do this next week. All right. Take care, guys.